Yeah, incredible. And I know I've said that quite a bit, but it's just the truth. You guys are absolutely incredible, and I think everyone at home knows that they're in for a real treat tonight. And if you guys are just tuning in, if you're just joining us, thank you for showing up to our band show. There was a lot of different things you could be doing with your Saturday night, and we appreciate you choosing us. With that said, we are joined by Ghost Chant live in the studio, so if you guys want to support the band, the best thing you can do is find them on their social media. Guys, what is the handle there?
It's pretty much Ghost Chant NY, I think, across the board. I think that's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's just Ghost Chant NY.
Awesome. And it's at our band show. If you want to support and follow us, we are on Instagram, Facebook, and of course, if you guys want to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video with a friend, it will not only help our show, but it will help the band and all the past bands. We have so much more show in store for you guys. Was that the right tense? So much more of a show in store for you guys this evening. And yes, I did do that little stutter step on purpose. I thought it'd be a fun moment. And another fun moment is when we get to introduce my co-producer and the man behind the switchboard making this show happen for all of us, Patrick W. Huber. Pat, welcome to the show. How are you doing, man? Woo! Wow, yeah, clap for Pat.
Killing it, bud.
Pat. And the crew and everyone involved.
And the crew, of course.
A great show so far. I'm enjoying every single song and just rocking out back here in the studio.
Yeah, it has been a great show. I mean, the band is incredible. The chat came to party as per usual. It's an awesome night.
Sweet. Woo. Yeah, 100%. For sure. Thank you for being here, to all of you. It's great having you, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the sets are going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I agree. And Pat, correct me if I'm wrong, but the band had some exciting news happen recently. Is that true?
Congratulations are in order. You just signed some sort of deal, and you're going to tell us about it. You're going to tell your audience, our audience, and basically tell us what's on the horizon for Ghost Chant.
Is that me? Okay, cool. Yeah, we recently partnered up with the fine folks over at Revival Records, or Revival Recordings. We're super excited about the opportunity to work with them and work on some new music for everybody. We're hitting the studio in April, so we're going to have some new tunes next year, and it's honestly some of the best stuff we've ever put out. But the folks over at Revival are awesome. They've been super welcoming to us, and we're just beyond excited for the opportunity to work with them.
Yeah. No, I mean, if it's anything like the energy in the room that you guys are conveying today, as you've been so great to work with, I feel like whoever you guys choose to partner with, you definitely made a great decision, because this is Ghost Chant, in my opinion, is just like a gem. And I'm glad to have people around you now that can help spread the word. So with these new tunes are coming. What can we expect? What's the future hold? You're going to put tunes out, get in a van perhaps? Why don't you guys tell me, though? Yeah, I mean, it's some of the heaviest stuff we've ever written.
For sure.
It's
you wrote a song with 2 breakdowns.
Yeah, it's
we doubled down.
Not
it's
one,
wild.
but 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of pit to pit
action.
There's a lot of pit.
It's super. They're super aggressive and fast paced, which is we've done that before. We've dabbled with it, but I think the focus on the newer stuff is kind of like just super high energy, like just balls to the wall, like explosion the whole way through. Like we're not straying away from like the sometimes softer elements that we incorporate in what we do. That's still there for sure. But I think when it came to writing this record, at the time when we began writing, there was just so many things going on in our like personal lives and things like that. So like, I think the writing just lent itself to those situations and where we were at the time of writing. And then like, I think sonically, I think we're just doing things that we've never done before in terms of like exploring with different sounds. And, like there's no such thing as a bad demo or a bad thing being sent into the group. Like that's just not something we do. We encourage and welcome pretty much every idea that gets thrown out there. Sometimes it gets used, sometimes it doesn't. But like for this new stuff, we're definitely taking things in a different direction. We have some songs that have kind of like more of a rock and roll kind of riffy to it, but then we have some things that are just kind of straight in your face, action packed, like front to back, all the way through. But again, we didn't like lose those softer elements. We still have that as part of what we're doing. So honestly, I think I completely echo what Gus had said. Like, this is definitely like the best stuff I think we've ever written, and taking our time with it has like been super helpful. When we first started, we were kind of like pumping out material in a way, which I don't think was a bad thing by any means. I just think when it came to the writing process, we kind of took a step back and said, like, let's really dissect what we're putting out there and dissect what we're writing to like bare bones, and then building off of it together. So like Gus was saying before, like the way his writing process is, he'll demo something and send it to us. And we might say, okay, let's extend this here. Let's cut this here. Let's move this to the front, this to the back, and like really focus on that. So I think the new stuff that's going to come out is going to be like it's just going to be so exciting to put it out. And then, yeah, I mean, we're very, very much looking forward to hitting the road pretty hard next year. Like, we don't have anything planned at the moment. We're kind of really focusing on writing right now, since Gus had said we hit the studio in April. So focus right now has been write and get things ready for that. But the second we are set with that and ready, like, it's just going to be as much on the road as we can do.
I can't wait. I'm very excited for the new tunes, and I know we can't hear them quite at the moment, but one thing we can do, and something that I'm very interested in, is you guys are very dynamic. Like you said, Dan, there's a lot of elements that you bring. It's you have those softer, sweeter moments, and now you have songs down the pipeline with 2 breakdowns. So you can really merge 2 worlds, and I think you guys do it really well. So where do your influences come from? What are some of the bands, artists that have inspired you to sort of pick up the sticks or the strings, or grab a mic and maybe not directly resemble or appear in the songwriting process, but certainly made an impact on you? I'd love to know. Let's start with Dan.
For me, I think it's pretty obvious in terms of like my writing style and my vocal style and the style of music that we play. But I'm a massive Poison the Well fan. They're my favorite band of all time. For those of you who don't know who they are, you should
Poison
definitely
the
check
Blank
them out.
Well.
Like, you should definitely check them out. But yeah, they're such a big influence on me, because they were one of those bands in like the late 90s, early 2000s and beyond that really didn't shy away from emotion when it came to writing. They write love songs. They write heartbreak songs. They write things like that. And that's always resonated with me, because to me, the best way to reach people is to be relatable and to write things that people can connect with. And that's always been a band for me that has been a heavier melodic hardcore band that had singing, that were not afraid to be softer. They have acoustic tracks on some of their records, but they've always had like a very, very special place in my heart, and it's one of the main reasons why I'm doing what I do now. I mean, the name Ghost Chant is a Poison the Well song. It's like an homage to the people who came before us doing what we're doing now in our own way.
Wow, that's really cool. I didn't know that. I also feel like I get a little bit of the poetry of a have heart listening to your music, and he's a great lyricist. So and you are as well. Gus, what about you? What are some of your influences?
I mean, just as a guitar player, it's funny because I play a lot more music outside of our genre on my own. I'm a huge blues fan, so most of the time sitting on my couch playing, blues licks on a guitar or something like that. Stevie Ray Vaughan, huge influence for me, but also like bands like Queen. I like interesting structures, and I like a lot of layers and dynamics in music. And, you put on Queen's Night at the Opera and you're taken for a sonic journey. It's never just, one style of song repeated 10 times. It is a whole ecosystem of music within one thing. And I like to think or take that approach when it comes to my inspirations for our music. So.
Yeah, I feel that in the way you play, for sure, especially the blues.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love me some blues as well. Matt, what about you, man? We're just going to go around the room here. I'm very curious.
I feel like my first influence, like, there was always like a drum kit in my basement because my brother and my dad played drums. And then my brother was in a band, so I would like go to, the Chant or Club Crannel or the Loft and like watch local bands that way, like go on to Pure Volume and like check out new band. Like that was so awesome. I love that about my childhood, that I was able to like go to a local show, not know any of the bands, not even check them out beforehand. And you leave finding like one of your favorite bands by the end of the night. And you get to, really get up close and personal, meet these people. Like it almost feels like a family bond type thing, being in like a part of the local scene. So that's why it's kind of a little frustrating seeing some of the venues close down now. But honestly, like that, like growing up seeing bands like The Morning Of, Just Surrender, love that stuff. And then honestly, my biggest musical influence probably would have to be, I know Gus mentions it a lot too, is the Seosin self-titled record. Sorry for Anthony Green fans, but I love that record so much. It's just like one of the greatest musical like collections. Like I don't know, it's so good. Their drummer's so good. Their guitarists are so good. The vocals are so good. The production is so good. It's just as a whole that made me really, really want to play music too. I love that record.
Yeah,
can't
sure.
stop talking about it.
The Morning Of, that's a throwback. Great band.
Yeah.
Shine, So Mike, yeah, let's just go around the room. Like I said, these are great answers. I'm loving this.
I think like growing up, there was always rock and roll just kind of playing in my house. So just like classic rock in general is probably at the core of it, just like where I started. My first concert I ever went to was The Who. And I was in 8th grade. And it was one of the most insane experiences. I could still hear Bob O'Reilly. Like I could visually see it. And like it was so intense, and it was the most life-changing experience. And then I kind of got into music that was more for me, and that's when I discovered bands like Killswitch Engage and like Every Time I Die. And that was actually my first like show was Killswitch Engage, Every Time I Die, Dillinger Escape Plan, and Parkway Drive opened the show. I was 14 and my dad took me, and I can't thank him enough for going to that and letting me experience something that he probably has never seen before. And that moment is the reason I'm standing here. So just, I don't know, Killswitch Engage, I guess, Every Time I Die, and The Who.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great answers.
Yeah.
Parkway Drive would not be opening that bill today.
No,
but,
no. Literally people standing still type vibe to Parkway Drive. Like
wow.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
I've watched both of their documentaries on YouTube many times. Such a great story.
Yeah, it's wild. It was cool just to see that, even watching a band like Parkway Drive, like seeing them open a show, then a year later they're on Warped Tour, 2 years later they're like headlining Warped Tour. It almost gave me a perspective that like these goals are attainable if you just do it. Realistically, just put in the effort and do it, because it's something we all do. Just do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
Brandon,
also-
what gave you that feeling early on?
So early on for me, it was about 13 or so. I went to my first concert. It was Avenged Sevenfold and Coheed and Cambria, and I remember the Civic Center. I remember seeing them and just being like, "This is surreal." Like these people I've only ever seen on TV, and then there they were in front of me performing. So it was one of like those larger than life experiences. And that same year, I got my first guitar, and I sucked for a really long time. But I ended up going to a local show about a year or so later, and ultimately I was just always obsessed with like the performing aspect of shows and concerts, and I wanted to be a part of that so badly. Seeing artists like the Devil Wears Prada, like in the early days when they were like throwing guitars around stage, like physically throwing them up in the air and catching them. Even like old like Fall Out Boy music videos, like Pete Wentz like rolling on people's backs and like throwing the bass around and swinging. That stuff was always really cool. So that made me, I just wanted to perform. And in terms of like writing music, I want to echo that Seosin record is just legendary. But I love the layers of a really good song. So bands like
Circa Survive, like just the layers and the intricacies that are like in the background of a song, and like and the same thing goes for like Under Oath, like all those bands from, you know, a time ago, like the layers that are in the music and just the little nuances in every piece. I think they kind of build a song and make it more of an art piece than it is just a song. So for me, in terms of writing, those are some of the, like, the bigger influences.
Yeah, that's great. That first Under Oath record is, I mean, so many of them are amazing, but that first one especially.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of layers and, you know, things that were built with tender love and care, I want to bring Pat back into the conversation here, because a lot of hard work goes into making our band show. And, you know, Pat, we appreciate every single person who helps us time in and time out. Do we not?
Oh, of course, Christian. You know, basically, we have a great volunteer crew that comes and helps us out each and every episode. You know, and it's just fantastic that we have people that are passionate about making, you know, film and video, and really willing to support us and the bands that are out there. And, you know, I do want to throw one question out there specifically for Dan. You know, a while back, this Bring Me the Horizon mantra video came out, and I was totally into it. And I started listening to their back catalog and realized, like, hey, that's a different style of music. And that was kind of my, like, gateway into some harder songs. And then I kind of went further, and I was like, why there major shift in music? And I found out about Ali Sykes' like ruptured vocal cords. And so the first question that like pops into my mind, you know, you're doing 9 songs here tonight, Dan. You know, what is the vocal training to keep that healthy and really going forward with the style of music that you're, you know, doing?
For sure. When I was a lot younger, I used to do a very, very, very different style of vocal. It was way more, like you had said, like early Bring Me the Horizon, and it was a lot more like growly and kind of high pitched when I was younger, and that kind of began to take a toll. And it, like, I started realizing that there's something that I'm doing that doesn't make sense and isn't natural. So then I kind of switched up, and I started playing with ranges a little bit. And I grew up singing my whole life. It's always been something that has been around for me. Like my parents growing up were big into like music and singing along to songs in the car and stuff like that. So I never got any like professional vocal training or anything like that, but I did like learn techniques from people. And like it goes back to like chorus in 6th and 7th grade and stuff like that, where they teach you like diaphragm breathing and like you don't want to force it out. Anything that you're forcing is not going to come out good. It's not going to sound right, and you're going to hurt yourself. So after all those bands that I'd been in that were kind of more that style, I really started to realize I was hurting myself, and it didn't feel right. There was something that didn't click. So I started playing with different ranges and stuff like that, and I could still do those things, but they have to be minimal. So once I found like the range where I can kind of push it without hurting myself, and it's all from like the chest, it's all from the diaphragm, and like just the way you shape words and way you shape, like I'm big on enunciation, so I used to be able to just yell and kind of like scream, and it would be like it sounded good, but you couldn't tell a damn word I was saying. So I started focusing more on the breathing techniques, and there's a YouTube video. It's out there. You used to be able to like purchase it and stuff like that, and there's a lot of really great vocalists in our kind of genre of music, our element of the music world, called The Art of Screaming. I'm blanking on the woman's name, and I apologize.
Melissa Cross.
Yes, there you go. Exactly, yes. And she actually teaches these guys. There's the vocalist Jake Lurs from August Burns Red. Like, she helped him shape his vocals, because if you listen to early August Burns Red, way back in the day, Thrill Seeker, the EP before that, he didn't sound great. There were things that he was missing, and then he worked with her, and now his range is absurd. The thing that this dude can do with his vocals is nuts. So I used to like look up the YouTube videos, and then this is back when like kind of like LimeWire was still a thing. So like I used to just like try to find bootleg of the whole videos rather than these like little segments on like early YouTube or like these MySpace videos that you used to be able to find and stuff like that. But they teach you like a lot of different techniques and stuff like that to not hurt yourself and to recognize when you're doing damage versus not. So like That's kind of like how I've been able to keep it going, and then just taking care of like your voice a little bit when you start to feel like something's going wrong. Like tea, man, hot tea and honey. You know, like you know, you're playing a show that night, and you know a bunch of your friends are coming out. They're old buddies of yours, and you're not feeling amazing. Don't have a beer with your buddies. Have a tea with honey. Like recognize where you're starting to sound off. And I've had my nights where I've sounded off. And I've recognized it, and it was not giving people and giving these guys like my best, and that's not fair to them. It's not fair to the people who come. So like, I've like focused a lot more on just sound the best you can. If you feel something off, change it. Don't be afraid to change it. Just make sure that what you're putting out and the way you're putting it out is genuine and you know focused and clean, the best you can do it.
Yeah, words to live by. As a singer myself, I totally agree with everything you just said. And you know, it all comes full circle. At the top, I said, hey guys, pour a cup of tea and relax and chill out. And more reasons to pour some tea. Not only is it a nice calming thing to do on a Saturday night, it can help you out in a pinch vocally. With that said, you know, we've had a lot of people help us out in a pinch throughout the course of this show's lifetime, and we just want to thank all of the past crew and, of course, Eric Greenup, and want to thank my co-producer, Patrick W. Huber, as well for this amazing day, this amazing episode. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Do not go anywhere. We have a whole... There's a lot of music, a lot more rocking out to be had, and I think it's time we let the band do what it is they do best. Ghost Chant, can you guys please take it away into another set of music for us?